Yo. What's going on, man? Today is April the 12th, 2012. It's your boy Chris, and this is the ChrisBeCappinn NBA Show, where we're live on Twitter. We're also live on YouTube as well. It's about 7:03 on the East Coast, where I am here in Virginia. And it's a lot of basketball, a lot of meaningless basketball, but it's a lot of basketball that's going to be played today. No games tomorrow. So it feels like every team is going to play real quick. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So, 30 teams in action today, and then no games tomorrow. And then Sunday finishes out the season with, I think, all 30 teams in action again. So let's jump into it, man. Yesterday, I talked about a few things that I like, but I didn't play anything. So, meaningless basketball, it's going to be difficult for me to make a play. If you guys have been with me for long enough, I typically don't force things. Even like small plays, I typically don't force things. But did give out some good information. Hopefully you guys were able to cash. The Knicks was a big part of, what we talked about yesterday, needing to win against Boston. And then I really liked Sacramento last night. I actually fell asleep like 8 p.m. yesterday and didn't watch any of the game. So I had to catch up on it this morning when I woke up super early, like around 4:30. So that recap is for the day before. But we've been doing pretty good. So today, what I want to do before we jump into the plays is first I want to just caution everybody. I said this on yesterday's show, and I know people are going to join throughout the show, but hopefully if you're catching this from the beginning, absolutely be cautious, man. Like if you're new to sports betting, don't go super crazy with these plays. I would encourage everybody to reduce their unit size and just take it easy, man. Like take it light until we get into the playoffs, because the meaningful basketball is on the way, but it's not quite here now. So that's just what I want to caution people with. I haven't made a play yet today. It's a couple spots that I'm looking at, and if I do play them, there will be smaller plays just for people who are interested and feel like they have to have a bet or a parlay in every single day. And I just don't feel that way. A lot of, different opinions on that, but I just don't feel that way. So one thing I want to look at really quickly was I just want to look at one thing real quick. Okay, cool. I just wanted to look at something real quick before we got started. Yeah, I wanted to check something real quick. All right, cool. All right, so let's jump into it for today, man. You guys let me know in the comment section which games you want to see. I got graphics for all of them, but I'm not going through all of these games this morning, man. I think it's kind of meaningless. Like I said, a lot of this is meaningless basketball. So y'all let me know what y'all want to, which games y'all want to talk about. We'll jump into those ones. So if it's a specific game that you want to hear a breakdown for, or you want me to deep dive into, let me know. It's a couple games that I really wanted to go through, and I'll get to those games specifically. But outside of that, the show will be short. I'm not going through every single game. So if there's a specific game that you want to hear analysis for and a breakdown for and want my thoughts on, let me know, and I'll go through that game. I see Nick the Ruler and Derek says Cleveland and Indiana, please. That was actually the game that I liked the most. So I'm glad we have some alignment there. That was one that I was definitely planning on going through. That was the one that I circled of all the games on the board. So let's just go straight to that game. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Like I said, I got a slide deck for all the games, graphics for all the games, but I didn't get into all of them. So let's go through this one. And Sacramento and the Suns, Derek says as well. That was another game that I wanted to get to as well. So Pacers and the Cavs. We'll start here first. All right. So injury report wise, this is a game where I think Isaiah Jackson is the only person that's listed on the injury report for Indiana, and he is listed as questionable to play. Left hamstring strain. So hamstrings are lingering injuries. I'm not sure if he's going to play today. But on the Cleveland side, they pretty much got everybody. Dean Wade's still out, and Sam Merrill is a game time decision for today. and let me see, doubtful for today with a neck injury. Yeah, he's missed the last 2 games. So outside of the injury report, like I said, this was a game that I was looking at too, and it's a meaningful game. So you get the Indiana Pacers. I think they're coming off 2 days rest, so they have a little bit of a rest advantage here versus the Cavs that just played 2 nights ago. So 2 days of rest to one. This is a meaningful game because if you look at the Eastern Conference standings, the Indiana Pacers are currently in the 6th seed. They need to stay in. They need to stay out of the play-in tournament by all means necessary. Like, you don't want to be in that play-in tournament. I know that they don't want to be in that play-in tournament. And when I was looking into this game yesterday, I was going through and trying to find. I always try to find all the nuggets I can, and I did see an interview from Tyrese Halliburton saying that this was a really, really big game for them. A game that they were going to try to come out and win. So I was already leaning Pacers, and then I saw that, and we know that this Cavaliers team has been reeling. So real quick, just the status. So the Pacers currently in the 6th seed. They're only a game ahead with 3 games left. They're only a game ahead of the Philadelphia 76ers for the last seed in the Eastern Conference that would not have to qualify for the play-in. So Philly and if the season was to end today before these games were to play, Philly would play Miami in the first play-in tournament spot. The winner would get the 7th seed. The loser will have to play the winner of the Bulls and the Hawks. So the Pacers don't want to be there. You got a Cavs team that's just 1 game above the Indiana Pacers. So you get a Pacers team that could finish, like if they went out, like they could, do really well. And I want to say this about the Pacers as well. Of all the teams in the Eastern Conference, them and the Philadelphia 76ers have been the best win-loss team over the last 10 games. Both of those teams are actually 7-3 in the last 10. Even Boston and the Knicks are just 6-4 in the last 10, as well as the Miami Heat. So it was things that was pointing to Pacers. I like the rest advantage here. I like that they lost the last game. So the Cavs, I talked about them. They're in the 4th seed. They need a win to keep home court advantage in the Eastern Conference. So I'm not saying that this game isn't meaningful, because if the Cavs do lose, they'll be 47-34, which could be tied with Orlando if Orlando was able to beat Philadelphia tonight. But if you're Cleveland, it is like a must-win game if you want to have home court advantage. And we know the Cavs have been much better at home, 25-14 at home versus just 22-19 on the road. So kind of same thing for both teams. The Pacers have 25. They're 25-15 at home versus only 21-19 on the road. So both of these teams, I think it'll be a meaningful game for both. I actually like the under. I think the under is in play. I like the under last night with Sacramento and New Orleans as well. And then you see that game kind of fly over the total. So this total hasn't moved. This line did open at 3 in favor of the Cavs yesterday, and I kind of had it circled. I said, man, the books are really giving the Pacers a chance to win. If they're just getting 3 points in this spot, it does feel like the Pacers should, come out here and play this game well. So when I was looking into it, and this was, like I said, this is the one game that I did like take a deep dive into. You got a Pacers offense that's been absolutely on fire. Last 2 weeks, 2nd in offensive rating, in points scored per 100 possessions, 11th in effective field goal percentage. And this was the big thing for me here, and one of the reasons why I really like the Pacers. If you look at the Cavs defense, it's been terrible. Like even against even against Memphis the other day, like they still struggled in that game and they pulled away late. But this defense, 24th in points allowed per 100 possessions over the last 2 weeks, 29th in opponent effective field goal percentage. So they're allowing teams to shoot 60%, which is the 2nd worst over the last 2 weeks. But this was the big kicker for me. The only thing that the Cleveland Cavaliers defense has been doing well over the last 2 weeks is they've been actually forcing a lot of turnovers. They're forcing the 2nd most turnovers. So they're forcing teams to turn the ball over at the 2nd highest rate. The reason why that's problematic for Cleveland is because Indiana has been the best team in the NBA at protecting the basketball. All throughout the season, like Pacers don't really turn the ball over a lot. Them, Atlanta, Dallas, like those are teams that just don't turn the ball over that frequently. I think Miami goes in that category for the most part. So that's problematic for Cleveland's defense here because you're forcing turnovers, which probably helps you get out and run in transition. And I don't like that. If you like the Cavs, you don't like that they're forcing the 2nd most turnovers, but the Pacers are actually protecting the ball better than every other team. Net rating, Indiana, of course, has been a lot better. They're plus 8.4 in net rating over the last 2 weeks, whereas the Cleveland Cavaliers are minus 5.2. You also look at the Cavs offense. They've struggled. only 114.6 points per 100 possessions, with 17th ranked. And they are turning the ball over at a really high rate. Although the Pacers aren't forcing a lot of turnovers. The Pacers are forcing the 6th most turnovers, but the Cleveland Cavaliers are turning the ball over at the 7th highest rate. Indiana will also need to rebound the basketball a little bit better. Their offensive rebound numbers have slipped a lot. They're allowing teams to get the 5th most offensive rebounds over the last 2 weeks. And that could be problematic because we know that the Cleveland Cavaliers have been, over the season, they've been one of the better offensive rebounding teams, although last 2 weeks they are bottom 10 offensive rebounding team. But you think about Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, and you think about those guys being able to get rebounds. I think Cleveland does a really good. I think Indiana does a really good job here of rebounding basketball. So then we look at shot zones. Indiana is taking a lot of their shots in the paint. They're taking a lot of their shots from mid-range. Of course, we know that this is not a great three-point shooting team, which actually plays into the strength of the Cleveland Cavaliers, though, because the Cavs' Achilles heel has been their ability to not defend the three-point line. They are the worst three-point defense over the last 2 weeks in the NBA. Allowed teams to shoot 47% from the three-point line. Like that's worse than the Utah Jazz at some points throughout the season. So that does not bode well because the Pacers don't shoot a ton of threes. They're shooting the 8th fewest threes over the last 2 weeks, 6th fewest threes from above the break. So that could be problematic because the Indiana Pacers will try to get to the rim, and that's where the Cleveland Cavaliers defense has been. They've done well in that department there. 6th in opponent accuracy over the last 2 weeks in mid-range shots, 12th in opponent accuracy at the rim, 11th in opponent accuracy in the paint. So their defense has been really good there. Gives you some pause for wanting to take the Pacers here. Although, if you look at transition, we know that the Pacers like to get out and run. Last 2 weeks, they're 6th in frequency, 8 in points scored per possession in transition. And you get a Cleveland Cavaliers defense that's bottom 5. They're allowing teams to run the fast break at the 5th highest rate, and teams are scoring at the 2nd highest rate against them via transition on defense. So that does not bode well for that's a really nice advantage for the Indiana Pacers here. So if you flip it and you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers offense versus the Indiana Pacers defense, then you see that the Cleveland Cavaliers, just looking at their shot zones, they are attacking the rim a lot, 9th in frequency, 12th in accuracy. Attacking the rim a lot. And they've been getting a lot of shots in the paint, 13th in paint frequency. So about 55% of their shots are coming from either at the rim or in the paint. And they're doing a really good job there. They're 4th in paint accuracy, whereas Indiana, they allow teams to attack the rim at the highest rate, but they are defending the rim well. They're 6th in opponent rim accuracy, which is that bodes pretty well. Now, they're as far as paint, like these are floaters, these are leaners, like these are not shots at the rim, but in outside the restricted area, so 5 feet from the rim. Excuse me. The Indiana Pacers are 20th in opponent frequency, so they're giving up that shot a lot, and they're 28th in accuracy. So they are allowing teams to shoot that shot at a very high rate as well, at a very good percentage as well. The Pacers have been a really good three-point defensive team, which you would think that the Cavs have been jacking. And they still are shooting threes. Like, they're pretty balanced on offense. 18th in corner three frequency, 14th in above the break three frequency, 18th in overall three-point frequency. And they are 8th, 14th, and 12th in accuracy in those three respective categories as well. But the Pacers have been the best defense from the three-point shot in general, allowing teams to shoot just 27%. So if the Cavs come out here jacking, then that means that this game should play in the Indiana's favor. Looking at their offense, as far as transition, the Cavs are 14th in frequency, 6th in points scored via the transition bucket, and that is a strength for Indiana. Indiana has been the best team at limiting teams from getting out and running the transition. They're number 1 over the last 2 weeks, and they are 11th in opponent points scored per transition bucket. So their defense has been really, really good. And, just in totality, rest advantage that we talked about, this being a big game for Indiana, they have played well on the road. It's Pacers in this spot for me. Pacers plus the 4. I'm glad I didn't play it last night because it did come out at 3, and I haven't played it yet. But the only way I'm looking in this game, is towards the Pacers. And I also forgot to mention, I see somebody mentioned it in the chat, the head-to-head matchup is correct. Cleveland did win the last game 108-103. They were 7-point dogs, but the Pacers actually beat them twice earlier this season. One of those games was the in-season tournament win. I think that was the one on November the 3rd. But these two teams did play second game of the season, I think, and the Pacers went into Cleveland and beat them 125-113. So the Pacers are 2-1 straight up and against the spread against this team. So I lean under and I lean towards. Well, you know what? I can't lean under because the Cleveland Cavaliers defense has been so bad. I'm not sure if I can trust them to slow anybody down. I mean, they gave up 120 points to the Clippers, 116 to the Lakers, 122 to Phoenix, and 113 to Utah. Denver hit them for 130. So rest advantage here for Indiana. It being a meaningful game where I think they want to stay out the play-in. It's Pacers or nothing for me in this spot. Let me see what you guys are thinking about this one before we move on. What up to my guy Prolific? He says, good morning, Chris. Cast on the Jazz yesterday. They won outright. I sent you that trend. Let's keep it going. Absolutely. I love it. He says, Molly Wop, that like button as you come in. Appreciate that as well, Prolific. Dano says, Golden State knew they're hazardous. What else are I saying in the chat? Still got the Pels Knicks 2-pick parlay. I'm glad you cashed that. Nando says he cashed on the Knicks yesterday. But lost in that Sacramento. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened in that game, man. I told you guys, the one thing that always talks me off unders, just something to keep in the back of your mind as far as your handicap. If there's a lot of 3-point variance, probably a game you want to stay off. And when I say 3-point variance, I mean like a team not being able to defend the 3-point line. The Kings are one of those teams that really struggle to defend the 3. And I woke up this morning and saw that the Trey Murphy and CJ McCollum went absolutely crazy from the 3-point line. And, of course, they couldn't stop Zion, who had, I think, 31. I'm always a little more hesitant to take the under versus teams that, really struggle to defend the 3-point line. And, of course, if you're scoring a lot, you can give up more points. And it feels like, without watching the game, that's what happened with the Pacers what happened with the Pelicans last night. The Pelicans couldn't score. They would have played better defense. Being that you can score, it's cool to, run up and down because they're not stopping you. I think they scored 31 points in the first quarter. All right, so what are you guys saying here? Racks on Racks says, yo, this YouTube thing is out. You got to come back to Spaces. What do you mean it's out? I don't understand that, Rex. Let me know what you mean there. Nendo says, I've Hornets plus 10. Boston starters check out. You can see that. KOD says, good morning, Chris. Appreciate all your efforts. I appreciate this comment. Glenn says, Pacers in the over. Derek says, does either team play D? I know how important the game is, but these two teams play no defense. So what I'll tell you about that, Derek, is that the Pacers are under team on the road, right? We talked about this throughout majority of the season. I know I just mentioned it in a game not too long ago, but the Pacers on the road have been an under team all season. They are 23-16 to the under. That's 59%. And I know they went over against the Raptors. But as a dog, it's not anything too significant. 13-12. So not quite sure here, but I know the Cavs haven't played any defense, so that does give me some pause as well here, Derek. Even though it is a big game, like you said. Derek says Pacers plus the points on the road versus a shaky Cavs team. Yes, please. And I'd agree. It's the only way I'm looking to play it. Derek says Indy 3-1 versus the Cavs this year. I think it's 2-1, but that could be right. What up, Justin? Appreciate you for being here as always, my brother. Nando says can't take no more unders. What up, LJ? Eric, appreciate you for tapping in. LJ says top of the morning, Chris, going through all these games. Damn, it's about to be 2-hour show. No, it's not. It's actually not. I told you guys in the comments, like, let me know what game you want me to go through. I'll just be real quick and brief on a couple, but I'm gonna be on here for less than an hour today. I'm not going through every single game. Definitely not going through every single game. So if there's a game that you want to hear analysis for, drop it in the comments and I'll go through it. But I'm not going through every single game. Just a couple. This was one that I really wanted to get through. Sly says, I like the over in this one. Justin says, close to moving on Pacers plus 125. I'll be right there with you, man. Douglas says, morning, my brother. Hope all is well. Cavs suck defending the 3. Then give me Halliburton 8 assists and over 2.5 threes at plus 105. Yeah, you just worry about the Pacers. They don't shoot a ton of them, man. They definitely don't shoot a ton of them. Maybe I'll go back and look and see how well they shot against Cleveland in those first few games. But that Cavs defense is I don't know if it's a drop coverage or what, but yeah, they really struggle to defend the 3-point line. And it makes sense, right? If you're going to score against Cleveland, I've been saying this since the beginning of the season. If you're going to score against Cleveland, it's typically not going to be against Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. Oscar says, usually love the Pacers off a loss, but a 3-game winning streak, what do you think? And that was my hesitation here, Oscar. I did see the 3-game losing streak and 3-game winning streak in there, and gave me a slight hesitation. But I think, meaningful the game, how meaningful the game is, I think I still want to lean Pacers here, nothing. Nando says Nets plus 10. What are your thoughts there? I'll go through that game, Nando. BK says, what do you think of Pacers first half or not? I'm not messing with any first halves until the postseason, the playoffs start. No first halves for me. Really difficult to tell who's going to be motivated at the beginning of the game. Dominique says, what's up, Chris? Give me them Pacers plus the points. Likes the Pacers as well. All right, so what was the next game that you guys said real quick? Y'all drop it in the chat. Let me know what y'all think. Who said? Nando said Nets plus 10. What are your thoughts? So let's see if I can find the graphic for the Nets plus 10. Nets. Who did Nets play? Hold on. The Nets. The Nets play today? Who? I don't feel like I made a graphic for the Nets. The Nets play. Oh, they play New York. I did not make that graphic. Did I make that graphic? I don't think I made a graphic for the New York Knicks. I must have skipped that one. My fault. I think if I'm playing that game, I'm playing over, Nando. I had already thought about that game, and I'll just leave it here just for the time being. Even on the second leg of a back-to-back, so let's first out at this time of the season, you gotta check the standings, right? So with the Knicks winning last night, they move into the third. Well, they stay in the third position, gives them a game lead on the Cleveland Cavaliers. But if the Cavs win and the Knicks lose, then they have the same record, and it comes down to the tiebreaker with 2 games left in the season tonight, right? So with that being said, it's still a game where the Knicks got to win. I'm not trusting Brooklyn to do anything, especially with their season being over, they're eliminated. They just lost to Toronto, so no way. I don't even want the points with the Brooklyn with the Brooklyn Nets, because the Knicks, they do play well on the second leg of back-to-backs. I didn't look into this, but it's a trend that I just remember. Knicks with no rest this season. Oh, they actually don't. They're 5-7 straight up, 4-8 against the spread. And they've been going towards the under 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 straight unders are the Knicks when they're unrested this season. Let's see. The time that they were a 6.5-point favorite was against the Hornets. They won that game outright and covered by 14. Again, they were 9.5-point favorites, but to the Wizards on the second leg of a back-to-back, they won that game by 16. Again, they were 12-point favorites on the second leg of a back-to-back to the Wizards again, and they won that game but didn't cover. And then you got them as 3-point favorites against the Jazz. They won and covered. So yeah, I'm not messing. This is a game I know I'm not messing with, Nando. I'm probably just gonna stay away from this one, but I think Knicks team total over. I'm not looking for the Nets to be able to stop anybody. We know that their 3-point defense has been kind of suspect, and the Knicks been shooting a ton of threes. So I do think this is a game that they're going to be able to score in. So I would lean towards Nets team total to go over. You see the total going up. It opened at 210.5, is up to 211. I see right now on DraftKings, and I think that would be the move for me here. Let's see. What else are you guys? What else? What other game? OKC, Nando says. All right, so OKC, this is an interesting game for the Thunder, because you look at the race for the Western Conference, and of course Denver took their number 1 seed back, but they are just 1 game ahead. And Denver should win. They should win out. I think they got a game against. I know they play San Antonio tonight, and then they finished the season off with a really easy game against the Memphis Grizzlies in Memphis. So they should go 2-0, and if they go 2-0, they will be sole takers of the best record in the Western Conference. And OKC currently right now tied with the Minnesota Timberwolves, who own a tiebreaker over them at 55-25 in the Western Conference. Both 1 game back of the Denver Nuggets. So as long as Denver wins out, take care of their business against the San Antonio Spurs and the Memphis Grizzlies, they should be good. OKC, do they want the 3rd seed or do they want the 2nd seed? because right now Timberwolves went out, then OKC will be locked into 3. They can't be caught by the Clippers. So do they go super hard in this game? And this is what makes this one difficult because, of course, Milwaukee's going to be on the road here. No Giannis, of course. Chris Middleton also popped up on the injury report. He's listed as questionable. Brook Lopez, I think, popped up on the injury report. He's listed as questionable as well. And I think it's like rest. So for me, that tells me they're kind of throwing in the towel. Like the Bucks may not want to win this game. And thinking about the Bucks, they are second in the West. I mean, second in the East. They're only a game above the New York Knicks, who will win tonight. I do think the Knicks beat the Nets. So I mean, this is like almost like a scheduled loss. This line was actually, and I got a graphic for this one. So let me find it. Here we go. So this line was at, you see it at 14 on the slide on the graphic here. This line was at 14 and a half. When I wrote this down yesterday, as soon as Damian Lillard got ruled out, I don't know what it was before Dame got ruled out, but it was 10 and a half last night. Total was at 223, which is where you still see it at. It's you got Dame. Oh, I forgot to mention Dame listed as questionable too with an abductor injury. So that's why you see such a big line. I'm definitely not messing with this game. OKC, Milwaukee is in a third game and 4 night spot. In the fourth game is 6 nights. And Oklahoma City, same thing. Third game and 4 nights, fourth and 6 as well. I see Lou Dort, who missed the last game on the injury report list. He's been ruled out already. So Lou Dort is out for I'm sorry. He was out for the game against the Spurs. So he'll be listed as questionable here. OKC should be able to roll in this game. You're going to get, I think a look towards the unders probably in play here, even though I don't really want to play too many unders. Milwaukee struggles to score the basketball. OKC 3-point defense is back intact to where it used to be over their last few games. And that's all Milwaukee wants to do is shoot a ton of threes. So Bobby Portis props, I think, will be a look here. But this feels to me like a game that Milwaukee is punting based on what we know in the injury report right now. So definitely not laying the big number with OKC. Not sure how motivated they'll be and what spot they want to get in and all that good stuff. And I'm not trying to figure it out, if I'm being honest with you guys. It's too much trying to figure all that out. So those are my thoughts on that game. Nando, I know it wasn't anything concrete, but that's just how I'm looking at that one. 2 Millie says Sixers and the Magic. So this was a game that I was kind of interested in as well, Sixers and the Magic. So let's go there. Orlando versus Philly. This line opened at 7 yesterday when I saw it, and it moved to 7.5. Now you see it up to 8. It's 8.5 some books as well, and the total lingering around 211. So Philly has been absolutely on fire. I mentioned that they've won 6 games in a row, longest winning streak in the Eastern Conference. They got the longest winning streak in the league right now. Philly does. Kind of picking themselves back up as Joel Embiid's come back. They won 7 of their last 10 games. And let's see, what did I write in my notes for this one? So looking at Orlando, I think the biggest news here is that Franz Wagner is listed as questionable. He will. I have no idea if he plays. Orlando shot themselves in the foot pretty badly in that last game. In the last 2 games, remember this team was in the number 3 seed with a chance to catch the Milwaukee Bucks. Now they find themselves in the 5 seed, and I told you guys at the beginning of the week when they were playing against the Houston Rockets on Monday or Tuesday, whenever that game was, that they had a chance to finish either all the way as high as the 2 seed or drop all the way to the 8 seed. And they looking like they're getting closer to the 8 seed because right now, tied with the Indiana Pacers, and they've lost home court advantage. So their 2 losses in conjunction with the Cavs beating the Grizzlies and the Knicks, of course, taking care of the Boston Celtics last night, both of those teams winning, and their 2-game losing streak has now put them out of first place. So I think you get maximum effort here from Orlando. When I think about Orlando and I think about how good their home record is, they're 28-12, which is the 3rd best home record in the Eastern Conference behind the Bucks and the Celtics. Crazy to think. But on the road, 18-22. Like they are them and the Milwaukee Bucks are the only road teams in the top 6 in the Eastern Conference that have a losing road record. So I do think about that, and I know Philly has been crushing it, and Philly still needs to win because they could potentially get out of the play-in, especially if the Pacers lose today. they could potentially jump the Pacers, or at least, have to come down to a tiebreaker with 2 games left. So Philly does need to win. I think if you want Orlando, you definitely want Franz Wagner being in. Remember what I said about Orlando the other day, and it holds true. This is a team that really struggles to score the basketball. So if you can come out there and, disrupt them and protect the rim, not turn the basketball over so that they don't get out and get easy buckets. Like, this is a team that, like, they've been beating up on the suck teams in the NBA. But when it comes to, rubber hitting the road and them having to play against tough teams that can shoot the 3-point ball and that can play defense, they really, really struggle. They're like the Cleveland Cavaliers as far as their defensive profile. Like, it's really difficult to score, at the rim when you got, Wendell Carter Jr. and Mo Wagner off the bench and, Jonathan Isaac off the bench. Like, those guys play really good defense at the rim. Orlando can't stop anybody from making 3-pointers when it really comes down to it. And that was why I was hesitant to take them against the Houston Rockets the other day. And Houston, I think, shoots above 45% from the 3-point line against them. And the same thing with the Bucks. The Bucks also another team that can shoot the 3-point ball. And now they find themselves against Philly, potentially without their, first or second best player, whatever you want to, rank Franz Wagner. So yeah, it's a difficult game, but if Franz is in, I think you do take the +8 here. I do think you get maximum effort from the Orlando Magic off a 2-game losing streak. And Philly could kind of let their hair down just a tad bit in this one, even though they still need to win. I think 8 points is a tad bit too many. So those are my thoughts there. And no look towards the total at all. Dominique says, I like the Nets. I got them at 10. Tommy says Knicks. Nando says Knicks. Oscar reminding us that Jalen Brunson did leave limping off, but he did come back. I think I saw that he came back. BK says, don't do it. As someone from Brooklyn, Nets are trash. Go with the Knicks. Nets is screaming 1-800-GAMBLER number. Nando says, I think OKC can cover. What are your thoughts? I just kind of broke that one down. Nando says he took the over to 11.5. Nets have won 6 of their last 9. I don't know about that. Oh, 6 of their last 9 games overall. I don't know if I agree with this one. Get that parlay. He says Jokic will thump tonight. He wants revenge or Wemby for all those blocks last time. I don't think so. They got the win. Like, Jokic is a high IQ player. He don't care about getting a shot block. He care about winning games. Nando says he took OKC -11 last night. You got definitely got a good number there. Derek says they opened at 8. OKC payback. I love OKC with the points here. James says, good morning, Chris. Do you trust the Suns today? Absolutely not. I do not. I'm not trusting the Suns. I mean, it's a Sun spot, but I'm not trusting them. Nando says, Chris, I think OKC smokes them. Okay. Old lady says, you're capping WNBA. I just joined yesterday. Yeah, I will be capping the WNBA. I was looking into getting the league pass yesterday through YouTube TV. I saw that they released the schedule. And I'm planning to go to DC to a couple of the games, couple of the Mystics games this year. So yeah, love it. Justin says Pacers might be the only NBA bet. NBA ain't it till the regular season's over, and I agree. So I've been knowing for 35 minutes. I want to get in a couple plays that I was looking into that I wanted to share with you guys. Let's see. What else y'all saying before I do that? Nando says Magic let me down last 2 games. Derek says Philly averaging 117 in the last 5 games. If Wagner play, I go in on the Magic. Glenn likes the over. Dominique says Thunder -14, Spurs +12.5, Kings +5.5, Philly money line. I don't say I never gave y'all a parlay. Let's get this cash. DMP, my guy, what up, bro? He says Big Chris, not the little one. What's happening, my guy? I know I'm here. Can't back the Magic on this one. They playing horrible right now, and that's probably when you want to take them, DMP. It's probably when you want to take them. Like I said, it worries me with Orlando though, because they really, really struggled to defend the 3-point line. And Philly, real quick, let's just look into it. Let's look at Orlando's defense over the last 2 weeks and Philly's offense before we move on to a couple of the spots that I was liking on the board for today. We talked about one of them, but just a couple of the other ones. All right, so I'm looking at Philly's offense, which has been the 3rd best over the last 2 weeks, 118.4 points per 100 possessions. Not turning the ball over, 7th in fewest turnover rate. Orlando is forcing the most turnovers in the NBA, but Philly should be able to protect the ball. Kyle Lowry, Maxey, like they should be okay. And they also got DeAnthony Milton back. DeAnthony Milton's a big part. So Philly's also been the ninth best defense. And I told you guys Orlando's been struggling to score. They're 23rd in offensive points per 100 possessions, only scoring about 111 per 100 possessions, and they're 24th in effective field goal percentage as well. So not scoring the ball well. So looking at Philly's offense, Philly has been taking a bunch of last 2 weeks. They're taking a bunch of long mid-range shots, 4th in frequency, 11th in accuracy, and Orlando's really struggled in that department. So these are like, free throw line extended jump shots, right? Orlando 27th in frequency, in opponent frequency, and 24th in opponent long mid-range accuracy. So they're allowing teams to shoot about 47%, which is the 6th worst in the NBA. Outside of that, Philly's taking a lot of threes, which is what we kind of talked about. 9th in corner 3 frequency, 4th in corner 3 accuracy. Shooting 46% from the corner 3 is the Philadelphia 76ers. Orlando's defense hasn't struggled in that department. They're 7th in opponent corner 3 frequency, 11th in opponent corner 3 accuracy. But they are struggling against above the break 3. But Philly hasn't been shooting a ton of above the break 3s. They're 20th in above the break 3 frequency. They are making them. They're shooting 40%, which is the 7th best over the last 2 weeks at the above the break 3. In Orlando, that's where they've struggled. They are limiting teams, only giving up the 8th fewest attempts, but teams are making that shot at a 40% clip. So it's really going to come down, in my opinion, to a big factor is going to be Orlando's 3-point defense in this particular matchup, in my opinion. Overall, Philly is shooting the 3-point ball at the 3rd highest percentage, 41% over the last 2 weeks. Orlando allowing teams to shoot 39%, which ranks bottom 7. Philly has been getting out and running. They're 7th in frequency for transition. They're scoring the most points in transition as well. Orlando's defense, kind of middle of the pack, 13th in frequency and 15th in accuracy. But like I said, with this being such a big spot, man, I think, 8 points is a tad bit too much to be laying with Philly in this spot. Even though I understand they have been balling, I'll be taking the points in this game. I don't always just go by the numbers. Like, I think you got to be able to do both. What up, Frankie? Appreciate you for tapping in. 2 Millie says, I like the over for the Suns game. I could be tripping. I won't do any of that. Nando says, can you give Jay Money a shout out? He been telling me Wagner Magic best player. I finally saw it. No, Jay. Yeah. I mean, I respect everything that Jay says, but Paolo and Franz are like, they like tit and tat in my book. So I won't rank them, but they both are key contributors for this team. So definitely, kind of on a limb there. 76ers, I don't trust the Magic right now, and the Knicks are ramping up for the playoffs in playoff mode. Probably mean Philly ramping up for the playoff mode. Dominique says Maxey about to go crazy tonight. I'm taking this over. Nando says, Chris, I think this is an under, but after listening to you, it's an over. Potentially, man. I like I said, not getting there with the total. I got a couple totals I want to share with you guys before I get off here, though. DMP says Embiid with no expectations in the playoffs is scary. He's about to go crazy. I can see that. Jay Styles says, did an 18 leg yesterday, missed by 3. Boy. 18 legs yesterday. Jesus Christ. Best of luck, though. I hope you cash 18 legger today. What up, Lightbear? Appreciate you for tapping in as well. So a couple games I wanted to get into real quick. The Indiana Pacers game is Pacers are nothing for me in that spot. I talked about that one already. See where the line go. I'm comfortable taking the +4. Just haven't bet it yet. Injury news has been, super crazy. So let's go to Charlotte and Boston. Total is 210.5. Hold on. I definitely wrote that down wrong. Total is 218. I'm sorry. This should say 218. Hornets and Celtics. Yeah. So second leg of a back-to-back for the Boston Celtics in this spot. And Boston injury report, of course, has not come out, but you do expect them to rest a bunch of guys, which is why this line is at 10.5 and not like 19.5, right? We know that the Hornets have not been the greatest basketball team, but they have been, like their offense has played a lot better. We cashed with the Hornets and the Dallas Mavericks team total. We cashed with that team. We cashed with the over in that game the other day. And that's the way I'm looking to play this one as well. I think You wait in this game though. Like this is my analysis for this game because I'm probably am going to end up playing this. And like I said, there is a discrepancy. Like it's the you guys see 210.5, but the total is 217.5 in this spot, and it's slightly already going up to 218. But here's what I think, right? I think the Hornets, looking at the Hornets, their offense has been able to shoot the 3-point ball. You're gonna get a Boston team that's not gonna be locked in defensively again. And Boston is they're gonna end up resting their guys in this spot. This is the second leg of a home back-to-back for Boston. Third game in 4 nights and a fourth game in 6 nights for the Boston Celtics. So I do think that Boston will be without a ton of their guys in this spot. The Charlotte Hornets also got Nick Richards, Grant Williams listed as questionable. Those are defensive guys, in my opinion, not necessarily offensive guys. So I see fast pace. I see Boston with Sam Hauser out there, Luke Cornett, guys like Peyton Pritchard, O'Shea Brissett if he plays. Like I think Boston will still be able to score in this game. So this is an over game in my opinion. Like I said, I'm gonna wait though and see who gets ruled out for Boston, how low the total gets, and then I'm probably gonna end up coming in on the over in this game. So this was one of the spots that I really wanted to talk to you guys about because I do like the over here. The next one was, hold on, let me go through real quick. So the Bulls played a lot of players yesterday and heavy minutes yesterday. They did get the win in the cover against Detroit yesterday. And now they get the Wizards. Now they get the Wizards. The Bulls only laying 2 points in the spot. And a big reason is because their starters played a lot of minutes last night, and you do expect Coach Billy Donovan to rest some of his players in this spot based on the minutes that they played last night. It's a meaningless game in my opinion, a meaningless game for the Bulls. They are 2 games above Atlanta because Atlanta is on a 4-game losing streak. So most likely the play-in game between the Bulls and the Atlanta Hawks will be in Chicago. So I do think Billy Donovan will rest his players, and I mean you still should be able to beat this Wizards team that's already listed. Tyus Jones, Kyle Kuzma out. Jordan Poole and Rashad Holmes are listed as questionable, I think is what I saw. So if you like the Bulls, I think you could get a much better number when those guys are rolled out. If you like the Wizards, which I'm not sure why you would, but if you like the Wizards, you definitely want to get in on this one now because I do think a couple of these guys for the Chicago Bulls are going to end up resting, in my opinion. Real quick, let me just give you guys a little bit more information on that. So last night in the game in Detroit, we saw starters in late, and we saw DeRozan play 36 minutes, Vucevic played 37, Kobe White 37, Caruso 34, who was listed as questionable for the game. So yeah, this is a game where, like I said, I don't think it's necessarily going to be as, Bulls aren't going to take this game as serious. Probably just not wanting to risk injury. And like I said, they'll host the Atlanta Hawks in the play-in most likely. So yeah, take with that information, do what you want. Next game, the other game that I wanted to get into real quick was the so we talked about this one. We talked about this one. Lakers and Grizzlies, no play for me here. The Grizzlies listed everybody out already. I think Gigi Jackson probably going to play out there by himself against the Lakers. And AD and Bron potentially might not even play in this one either. Just because it's the Grizzlies, they should be able to win the game without him. The Grizzlies really got like a second tier G League team out there, not even a first tier team with all the injuries they got going on. I think 13 players are on the injury report. Denver and San Antonio, no play for me here. I lean towards San Antonio though to get the points. I don't think Denver is going to be super motivated to win this game by margin. This reminds me of Golden State last night in Portland. The only reason I didn't get there with Portland, even though they did cover, is because Blanton got ruled out. But if I was awake and Blanton got ruled out, I definitely would have. If Blanton was in and I was awake, I probably would have pulled on Portland in that game, especially with Golden State being on the first leg of a back-to-back. So this is symbolic in my opinion. I think Denver wants to win. I don't know if they need to win by margin. I saw Victor Wembanyama is off the injury report in the San Antonio game. So those are my thoughts there, plus the points. Atlanta and Minnesota. This is a game that I probably am going to get to the window with as well. It'll be a smaller play, so I'm not going crazy. But Atlanta, DeJounte Murray listed as questionable. Trae Young came back in that last game. You also got Karl Anthony Towns expected to play in this game. And yeah, this total is looking like it's moving in the direction that I thought it was going to move in. So it looked like it opened at 226.5 down to 226, but I see a 227 out there as well. I like the over in this game. Whenever Minnesota's land double digits at home, especially against a non-conference opponent in a meaningless game. Now, granted, they need to win, but I think they'll be able to score. What is the Timberwolves really struggle to do? They really struggle to stop teams from shooting a three-point ball. Like whatever reason, like that's the shot that always end up breaking the straw back for the Minnesota Timberwolves. This is a team that was just at home against the Washington Wizards earlier this week, and they allowed the Washington Wizards to shoot 20 for 43 from the three-point line, 46%. And it was Corey Kispert and Jordan Poole and Denny Avdia and Patrick Baldwin Jr. And yeah, it was guys that you wouldn't have thought of. And I think that that's very symbolic of what's going to happen in this game. When I look at Atlanta, this is a team that just loves jacking a bunch of threes. We know that they have a ton of three-point shooters: DeJounte Murray, Trae Young, who's back now, Bogdanovich out there. Like, this is a team that can really score. I'm not sure if Jalen Johnson's going to play in this game, but even if he does, I think that'll help the offense as well. So real quick, let's look at, I just want to put some numbers to this as well, because this is a game that I do like the over in. Want to look at Atlanta's offense versus Minnesota's defense. So last 2 weeks, Atlanta is shooting the 5th most corner threes. They're shooting it at the 7th highest rate. They're shooting the 9th most threes overall at the 17th highest rate, about 37%. And like I said, a ton of their shots are coming from the three. So let's see, that's 40. So about 40% of their shots are coming from the three, are the Atlanta Hawks. And Minnesota's three-point defense, 38.3%. They allow their opponents to shoot, which is 17th in the league. So I think it's going to be a game where, both teams get up and out, try to push the pace. Don't expect Minnesota to be super locked in defensively. It's also a third game in 4 nights for them. They're coming back, off the loss against the Denver Nuggets. So this is one where I do like the over as well. I don't trust Atlanta defensively, especially with Trae Young being back. Karl Anthony Towns is back. That means Minnesota defense is about to be worse. So I do like the over 226 in this spot. This was one that I wrote down and wanted to make sure I share with you guys as well. Let's see what you guys are seeing. Let me go back to the comments real quick. Over 226 is what I like in this spot, though. What up, Tasha? Appreciate you for being here. Richard says some of these games are frauds. Absolutely. That's why we're going through only a couple of them. Tasha says you're killing it on these early morning shows while I'm at work. It's okay. I got to sneak again. She's sneaking in, listen to the show. Dominique says pass on that game. Not sure which one you was talking about. Derek says over 217 for Charlotte, 8-2 to the over in their last 10. I think it's something like 4-0 to the over in their last 4 as well, Derek. So yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Kuzma has already been ruled out, Dominique. He's not playing. Derek says Pritchard and the boys scored 38 points in the 4th last night. No Kuzma, no bet for Dominique. Nando says pass. Bulls clinched the 9th seed with the win last night. They have no incentive tonight. Yep. Like it, Paul. Like it. Bulls no defense finna be played just like Houston game last night. That's why you look towards the overs, man. Nando says, Chris, are you worried about the Lakers defense? I am. Not tonight, but yeah, overall, yeah. I've been saying this for a while, man. Whenever you got D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves out there at the same time when they're playing against playoff caliber teams, it's not a recipe for success. You can go in and look at the advanced numbers. Neither one of those guys can guard anybody. And when when it really gets strategic and the X's and O's and the Lakers can't just get downhill and put pressure on the rim, they can't really do as much. Now the Lakers should blow out Memphis tonight. Remember, Memphis is a bottom tier defense that can't protect the rim. So a lot of catch and shoots from the 3-point line. Their 3-point defense has been good. So Lakers should run it up tonight. But against playoff teams, I'm not looking towards the Lakers with that defense. Let's see. What else are you guys seeing here? Jalen Johnson is out for 3 weeks. Derek says, okay, I didn't see that. Richard says, take the under in the Wizards game. No way I could do that, but best of luck, man. Justin says, going to look more into the over, but like it. Timberwolves Timber, she says. Pacers plus 3.5 for GBC, and the Warriors -4. Smokey Steam Best says, no one will like the Hawks today, but I'll take them. Okay. Hope you cash it. So which one would you start in the playoffs? I would start Austin Reeves in the playoffs because I feel like D'Lo is a better playmaker. So you need him to be out there for not for himself, but for everybody else. So when it comes to playmaking, I would start Austin Reeves and let D'Lo come off the bench. As long as the Lakers can score the basketball, like you got to have enough 3-point shooting around LeBron James and Anthony Davis, in my opinion. So, I would start Austin Reeves and let D'Lo come off the bench so he could be the anchor for when LeBron goes to the bench. That's my thoughts. It was one more. I think it was one more game. No, those 2 games were the ones that I really wanted to go through. Let's see what else we got. Talked about it. Raptors in the Heat. Nothing for me here. I also lean towards the over in this game, especially if Quickly is ruled in. Like, I don't know if y'all been watching, but the Raptors game's been flying over the totals. And I'm not sure if he's going to play. I didn't look at the injury report in this game. We're too deep. But, I think Miami should be able to score. I think Toronto's offensive pace pushes pushes Miami to play a little bit faster. I know Miami's really struggled to score the basketball, but they won't struggle against this Raptors defense, in my opinion. Raptors defense has been one of the worst in the NBA. They don't have a true center with Kelly Olynyk being out there. RJ Barrett looked like he's playing. Gary Trent Jr. listed as questionable. If Quickly's in, I like the over 218 in this spot. I don't think Miami's going to be super locked in this game defensively, and I do think that they'll be able to score. Rozier could potentially come back. No Duncan Robinson, but outside of that, I think they'll be able to score. So Toronto and the Heat, another game that I would look towards an over for with such a low total, 218.5. That's extremely low. Detroit and Dallas. I saw Luka listed as questionable in this one. He probably won't play. Like, you won't really need him. Kyrie is listed as out, got that $1 million, and now he's chilling. He has been ruled out due to left hamstring soreness. Nothing wrong with his hamstring. He just chilling. And Luka also listed as questionable. So you let this one go down, in my opinion. You let it go down. Maybe Luka gets ruled out, and then you jump in on the over. Detroit, second leg of a back-to-back. I think it's a third game in 4 nights as well for the Pistons. And let's see if I wrote it down. Yeah, third game in 4 nights for the Dallas Mavericks. And it's a 6 game in 9 nights, I think. 6 game in 9 nights for Dallas. I expect Luka to take the night off here. Cade Cunningham. I think they pretty much just shut him down for the season. So you just got Jaden Ivey out there with Troy Brown Jr. and Chemezi Metu. Not going to be enough in this spot. Even Dallas backups, Tim Hardaway Jr., Derek Jones, Dante Exum, like they got guys, Jaden Hardy, that can still score the basketball. So I would look towards Dallas team total over specifically in this one. I don't know if the Detroit Pistons going to be able to come along for the ride to be able to get to the full game over. So this is one where I would probably isolate the team total and look towards Dallas team total to go over. But like I said, I would wait until Luka gets ruled out if he's not going to play. I don't think he's going to play in this game. Rockets and the Blazers, another game that I would look towards the over for. I think you need Banton ruled in, though, because Portland's another team that, can struggle to come along for the ride if you take the full game over. But the Rockets on the second leg of a back-to-back, third game in 4 nights. I think it's the fourth game in 6 nights for them as well. Both of these teams, second leg of a back-to-back, third game in 4 for both, fourth game in 6 for both. So not a lot of defense going to be played here. We saw the Rockets just kind of, take their foot out all the way off the gas. They win their last home game against the Orlando Magic, and then they come out and give up 125 points, 130 points against a Utah Jazz team. I saw somebody named Samalik or forgive me for butchering his name, but I had never even heard of this person. Had a career night against this Rockets defense last night, and I could definitely see Portland being able to score as well in this game. So 217, super low total. You need both of these teams to get to like 108. I think that could absolutely happen here. The Rockets team total should definitely go over, even though both of these teams are playing pretty slow. This is a game that I would only look towards the over in as well. But I want Benton ruled in. Definitely want Benton ruled in. Pelicans and the Warriors. So this is a game where you kind of got to go back to the standings for. And I gotta. Is this the last game? I think it's one of the last games. So I'll give you guys some quick thoughts on this one. So I know for sure that the Lakers have already, with Golden State winning last night, the Lakers are pretty much cooked as far as getting out of the last play-in spot. Golden State did jump them last night, and they did it without Draymond. They did it without Clay, and I think they did it without Gary Payton II. I think he got ruled out in that game as well. So short travel. We got to remember Golden State doesn't play well at home, but they have played well on the second leg of back-to-back games. One of the best teams in the NBA when they're playing the rest of this season. The Pelicans, of course, went to Sacramento. I didn't watch the game, like I said, but it looked like they exerted a lot of energy in a very, very meaningful game to keep themselves, try to get out of the play-in spot for themselves. So what does Golden State want to do? Right now, they're currently locked in. They're tied with the Sacramento Kings for the eighth. Well, the Sacramento Kings own a tiebreaker, but they have the same exact record. So Golden State could take this game extremely serious if they want to, depending on who they want to play. Do you want to play the Lakers and host that game? Do you want to play the Kings? Do you want to play the Suns? If Golden State wins, they'll jump the Sacramento Kings. If the Sacramento Kings lose tonight, of course, to the Phoenix Suns. So it's crazy how all these teams are playing against each other tonight. Golden State playing against Phoenix, that's a 9th seed versus a 6th seed. And if Pelicans lose, they could potentially be back in the play-in. It's a lot going on with this game, man. It's a whole lot going on. This is one I have no idea what these teams want to do. I think that's important. The way that the Pelicans were playing last night, it does make me think that they want to stay out of the play-in. The defense has been subpar. This Golden State defense has been so much better. Golden State has struggled at home. But, you play last night and you rest Draymond, and they probably did it because they want to take care of this game here. But like I said, I'm not sure the motivation. Golden State's the hottest team in the NBA. Them and the Dallas Mavericks are both 9-1 straight up in their last 10 games. And you really just need them to win by 2 buckets here. So not a game that I was, probably not going to bet. I need to really do some reading before I bet this one. Yeah, I wouldn't feel super comfortable sharing thoughts on this one without, taking a little bit more of a deeper dive. Let's see. Richard says, take Ice Trae over in his turnovers. I could definitely see that, especially with it just being his second game back. Sheeny says, your Chicago Bulls in the revenge spot for the end of the season pride. I'm thinking I could absolutely not disagree more with that. Sheeny. I'm on the opposite side of that. I'm not trusting the Bulls, man, on the second leg of a back-to-back. He says, but if their last home game, it's their last home game, no? Who is going to score for them if Luka doesn't play? That's a big spread. So I didn't say take the spread, but they have a ton of scores. You also just go, if you get a chance today, go look at the Detroit Pistons defensive numbers and tell me who on the Detroit Pistons playing defense. Who locking anybody down on that Pistons team? I just want to know who you think out there going to stop anybody from scoring. Dallas got guys that can still score the basketball. They shoot a ton of threes. They can get to the rim. Yeah, we definitely on opposite sides if that's how you're thinking about this one. Richard says, need a 3-team parlay, guys. That was a question because it's definitely not coming from me. And then Jazz and the Clippers, not a game that I bet. You know what? I'll pass on this one. Totally punt this one. I saw the injury report. It's pretty lengthy. Of course, Colin Sexton could potentially return. He was ruled out last night. You get the Jazz on the second leg of a back-to-back traveling from home. It was their last home game. They probably get smoked in this game. Clippers could do whatever it is that they want. Paul George back off the injury report here. James Harden is still listed as questionable. No Kyrie, of course. I see Vol Cumber says a super tough card. It is. It's absolutely a super, super tough card. Do you want to lay 14 with the Clippers? They can smoke the Jazz, and maybe they take care of business early, so that they can rest. But this definitely not a game that I'm interested in. If I had to play it, I would look towards the over. I think the Clippers could score. The Jazz defense has been trash, specifically on the road. Even last night, it was trash. And the Clippers, if anything, probably still want to go out and get their number. So this would be another game I look towards the over on. And then Phoenix in Sacramento. This line was at 3 last night before Sacramento took on the Pelicans. So you got a Phoenix Suns team that I talked about wanting to look at this game just real quickly. This total was at 225. Is at 225 and a half now. I think a look towards Phoenix team total to go over. We saw with Sacramento's vulnerability at the 3-point line in that game yesterday against the Pelicans, and the Suns can shoot the leather off the ball when they really come to play. Do they come to play in this spot? I'm not sure, but I would look towards the Suns team total to go over. Kings, one of the worst teams in the NBA on the second leg of a back-to-back. They are 6-8 straight up, 5-9 against the spread when they're playing the rest of this season. Phoenix, this is a third game in 4 nights for them. They had the back-to-back game versus the Clippers. They're 7-2 straight up, 5-4 against the spread when they're playing unrested this season, and they have lost 3 straight games in this spot. Phoenix is also 7-2 to the over if they're rested and they're playing against an unrested opponent. That was one thing I looked at last night as well. So Phoenix team total over is the way that I would look if I was playing this one. Stay away from the spread, but I could see Sacramento, like really playing this team tough, and they have like competed against this team. But I told you guys one of the reasons why I really liked the Pelicans yesterday, probably should have bet them, was because the Kings are starting to slide, man, with no Monk, and they're playing against these really good teams. Remember, I told you guys they won in 1-5, I think, 1-4 in their last 5 games. I think 1-5 now, straight up in their last 5 games. The only win that they got came against the Brooklyn Nets, and we were successfully on them in that spot. So outside of those, they've been playing against these very competitive teams. And they haven't, they look like a shell of themselves, whether it's defensively or, they lack a ability to be able to score the basketball consistently without having Malik Monk out there. So, I think Phoenix should be the spot here, in my opinion, especially if they want to potentially get out of the play-in. If Golden State wins tonight and beat the Pelicans, and Phoenix wins tonight and beat the Kings, I think the Phoenix Suns will get back to out of the play-in spot, because they do own the tiebreaker over the Pelicans, and their record would be the same. So I know I just said a lot. Go back and rewind that. But the Pelicans the Phoenix Suns can get themselves out of the play-in spot here. That was a lot, man. And I think this is the last game on the board. So we did go through them. You see top plays here. I didn't play anything, which is why I left this empty. But if I had to, make a couple plays today, like I said, Charlotte and Boston, I would wait until the starters got ruled out for Boston. Ime Udoka, not Ime Udoka. I called him Ime Udoka. What's my guy name? The coach of the Boston Celtics. The coach for the Boston Celtics. I can't think of his name right now. I see his face. Joe Mazzulla. Joe Mazzulla may rest, may rest a lot of the starters. And if he does, the total will drop. And I like the over between Charlotte and Boston. Charlotte's going to shoot a ton of threes. They've been making them. Brandon Wood, shout out to Brandon Miller. He's been, killing Micic. They got guys that can score the basketball. So total super low. I like the over in the Boston and Charlotte game. But like I said, wait until the starters get ruled out. Boston backups can still score the basketball. Over 217 would be the look there. Atlanta, Minnesota, over 226. I like that spot as well. Don't think Minnesota will be super locked in defensively here. Both teams really shoot the 3-point. Well, both teams, Atlanta shooting the 3 a lot. Minnesota struggling to defend the 3. And I do think Minnesota should be able to score in this game as well. So those are 2 plays I like. The Pacers, probably my favorite spread better today. My favorite spread better today, +4. But didn't bet it yet. But I do like them +4. Just wanted to check and see if the line has moved or not. Yeah, it's back down to -3. I probably should have got in already. Pacers, I think, are the top spot of the day, though. I like the Pacers a lot. This Phoenix team total over, I like a lot as well. Those will probably be the top 4 looks, the ones I just went over. It's a big card today. Like I said, 30 teams playing. So best of luck, man, to you guys. I hope you guys cash. I hope the information that I gave was helpful for you guys. And it leads to some winning bets, man. Appreciate everybody for tapping in as always. And resources that I use to cap the game as always here for you guys. Check them out if you interested in taking your capping process to the next level. And shout out to the Odds Jam. The only promo that I ever do is Odds Jam. Best sports betting software in the world, in my opinion, over there. If you are interested, definitely use the code in the description to sign up. Get 25% off your first month over there using Odds Jam for whatever you want to use it for. I like the Sportsbook screen page because I'm always trying to pay the less vig, the least amount of juice. But use it for whatever you want to use it for. A ton of different options over there. If you found the show helpful, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't. Share the show, retweet it, all that good stuff. A link to all my official plays when I do make them will be in this. It is in the description of every YouTube video. Make sure when you sign up, you use the $5.99 subscription versus the $2.99, as that's only to support the channel. $5.99 will get you, access to all my plays when I do make them via your email. Whatever email you use, it'll come directly to your email. So definitely be on the lookout for those. Bet responsibly. Enjoy the games, man. Appreciate everybody for helping me cap the games, letting me know what you guys were looking at. We'll break the show up into different sections as well, kind of talking about the games. And I hope you guys, like I said, I hope you guys cash, man. Enjoy the day, enjoy the last few games. Bet lightly, like I said as well. My recommendation. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.